Good morning, folks. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Chocolate Day, or happy Condom Day, whichever is your take. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. My name is Apostle Kwabena Usweje of the Hezekiah Apostolic Prayer Ministry. His Excellency, please desist, underlined in red, from renaming the Kotoka International Airport. If you treasure your life and you want to fulfill God's purpose for your presidency, please desist. If you allow the name change to take place, 3 months afterwards, you will see the results of what I am talking about. You see, the same Nkrumah's group who instigated and incited the late President John Atta Mills in January 2009 to change the name of the seat of government from Golden Jubilee House to Flagstaff House are behind this agenda. And His Excellency, you should know better than that. You should know better than that. I can't understand why these Nkrumahs, they have a party called CPP. Why then don't they go build their party, win elections with their party, and come and do what you want to do? Why are they always hiding behind NDC? They hid behind Atta Mills, and now they are hiding behind John Mahama and using NDC to accomplish their purpose. John Atta Mills obliged, and he moved the presidency even back to the castle. Where did he die? At the castle. Where was he buried? At the castle. Because what John Atta Mills allowed himself to do was tantamount to what Israel did. When God brought them out of the bondage, they said they wanted to go back to Egypt. And those rebellious group, what happened to them? They all died in the wilderness, and they were buried in the wilderness. So after 40 years, the new generation was allowed to move on. In numerology, 40 years is like 4 years. So after Atta Mills allowed himself to be used that way, 4 years later, what happened? You won the election. You won the election, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and you moved. You moved from the castle to the new edifice. In fact, you are the first president to operate from the new edifice, Christian Golden Jubilee House. The Lord showed me when Atta Mills did this, that 1972, the history will repeat itself typologically. So in 1972, what happened? Kwame Nkrumah dies. Buzia and Akufo-Addo's regime was overthrown. They lost power. But in 2012, Atta Mills is playing in Nkrumah, and Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are playing Buzia and Akufo-Addo. So what happens? Atta Mills dies, and Akufo-Addo and Bawumia will lose the election. They lose power. So you see, God does not lie. And you, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you moved immediately from the Osu Castle to the new edifice. And God had told me that the John who will win the 2012 election will move from the castle to the new edifice. And when he gets there, I must tell him to what? To restore the name back to Jubilee House, or else the history of 66 will repeat itself. I warned you. Reverend Steve Wingham is my witness. But you wouldn't hear of it. And you stayed there. And the history of 1966 typologically repeated itself. J.B. Dankwa was murdered, killed, cold blood. You were kicked out from the Flagstaff House. The next president was Akufo-Addo, just as happened in 1966. Moreover, the Lord showed me the pattern, the Nigerian pattern, the Ghana-Nigerian pattern. In January 66, Nigeria did the first coup d'etat. In February 66, Ghana did a coup d'etat. So let's look at what happened as a way of reminder. I know you've heard it before. In 2011, Musa Yar'Adua died. Goodluck Jonathan took over. He won the elections. He was sent to court. He won the court case. A year later, 2012, Atamils would die. John Mahama takes over, wins the election, sent to court, wins the court case. Then 2015, Goodluck Jonathan got 44%. 44. Buhari got 53%. One Christian, one Muslim. Isn't that correct? We come to Ghana 2016. What did John Mahama get? 44%. Just like Goodluck Jonathan. What did Nanado get? 53%. One Christian, one Muslim. Isn't the same thing that happened in Nigeria? Then in 2017, the Nigerian Muslim counterpart collapsed. And on the 19th of January, he was flown to the UK for medical attention. Exactly 1 year later, the Muslim counterpart here also collapsed and was flown to the UK for medical attention on the 19th of January. So tell me, who's lying and who's joking? Before you came to power, I fought, I screamed, I shouted, just to stop you, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, from reversing the name of the seat of government to the Flagstaff House. Jubilee House will revert to Flagstaff House. Mahama will reinstate history. Clement Apak vowed. Isn't that correct? Because in one of, you went to a meeting and you said, this is you, His Excellency John Mahama. He said, so I was asking a question on 7th of January 2025. Who will show John Mahama around the Flagstaff House? You use the name Flagstaff House. He asked Party Faithful at the St. Martin's Secondary School in Nsawam. I opened Flagstaff House, and I'm the first president to have worked from there. It is true, it was built by President Kufuor, but I was the first president to stay at Flagstaff House. So after my inauguration, I'll drive straight to Flagstaff House and start work, he said to cheers from the supporters. You see? So Clement Apak was championing it, that from day one, the edifice will be renamed Flagstaff House. And I said, I was responding to this message. I called the press, and I was responding to this message. And I said, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, if this is what you intend to do, then John Mahama, Baumia will break the 8 on your head. I was responding to this. NPP edited it, and they started using it for their campaign. So they start from John Mahama, Baumia will break the 8 from your head, on your head. I remember I said, that was on the 4th of February at the International Press Center. I said, if this is what you intend to do, John Mahama, and I gave a challenge that if you are able to win the election, move into the Jubilee House and reverse it to Flagstaff House, then I should be stoned. But you see how it was edited? And they told you that I had taken money from Akufo-Addo, from NPP, to campaign against you, and you believed them. Oh, Yehovah. Let me show you something. I'll take NDC back to Flagstaff House, Ufusompofo vows, November 19, 2018. He says, whether they call it Flagstaff House or Jubilee House, we will call it Flagstaff House. On day one, Your Excellency, referring to the flag bearer John Mahama, will change the name and call the Flagstaff and call it the Flagstaff House. So the road to the Flagstaff House begins. Mr. Ufusompofo stated on Thursday, 16 January 2020, at the NDC fundraising event. Let me tell you my experience with Ufusompofo concerning this issue. I had met Ufusompofo, a young guy called Acho. I was passing by the headquarters, and he said, "Oh, Apostle, you don't come here again." I say, "Why waste my time? I go and pray, and God gives me revelation, and I come and I tell you, and you poo-poo on it, and I should waste my time." He said, "Oh, this chairman we have, he's a Pentecost elder, so he understands visions and dreams and what have you." So an arrangement was made, and I went to see him. And I asked Chairman Ofosu that I wanted communion wine, 240 something, because there were 240 something constituencies. He said, bring your budget. I brought my budget. Well, of course, multiply one bottle of communion by 240 something, plus our transportation around the, the various constituencies. He said, okay. He directed us to meet him another time. So when I went back home, I think one of our prayer times, the Lord said, Kwabena, for him to know, for him Ofosu to know that what you are saying is a reality, send him this message. Tell him very soon he'll be forced to be a lame, or he'll be forced to resign, or he'll be a lame chairman. So I sent the message to him. Less than 2 weeks later, a voice came out. It was Ofosu's voice. And he said they should kidnap people, they should do a whole lot of things. You know it already. Then, afterwards, I had a dream or a vision, and I saw that Ofosu was holding onto the NDC flag, like it was around his shoulder, and he was holding onto it. And the back of the flag had been tied to a car, and they were dragging Ofosu on the street. Because, he was holding onto the flag. The back of the flag had been tied to a car. And I could see his lower back and his legs being dragged on the street. And I heard a voice telling, leave the flag, let go of the flag. So when I woke up, I said, Lord, what does it mean? And the Lord said, tell him to step aside as chairman, even if it's temporary. As soon as he steps aside, they will not be interested in the case again. So I conveyed the message to him. The next thing I heard, I was being insulted at Ahunto FM. Ofosu boys were telling the world that I had come to Ofosu to demand 247 cows. They didn't say communion wine. They say I came to demand 247 cows. The Lord said, leave him. Don't worry. You lost the 2020 election. Because the 2020 election, the Lord showed me Jerry Rawlings will pass away. And just as Atamils passed away in 2012, and you went to Central Region, if Rawlings was going to pass away, you had to go to Volta Region. And I said, without a Voltarian, you will not win that election. And again, people insulted me. What happened? But let me tell you what happened to Ofosu Ampofo. Because you, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you are the one who took him to America for his operation. Where was he operated? Was it not on his lower back and his legs? Tell me if I'm lying. And the vision I saw, was it not his lower back and his leg that was being dragged on the streets? When we come to you with revelations from the Lord, you poo-poo on it. But everything we say comes to pass. I fought. I did everything for you to keep the name Jubilee House. His Excellency, compare your stay at the Flagstaff House, the cursed Flagstaff House. And when you left the Flagstaff House after losing the election, you said NPP had used spiritual means to cover your work and what have you. But today you're operating under the Jubilee House. Compare. And you said your own statement, what you expected to happen in 2 years has happened within a year. This is the Jubilee blessing. This is the Jubilee covenant. Why would you want to change it to Flagstaff House? So those who were telling you that I are taking money to campaign against you, you believe them? They are the same people who want you dead. If this is the result of John Mahama operating under the Jubilee House, if you had operated under the Jubilee House from 2013 to 2016, guess what would have happened? And you would have won the election. And the NPP wouldn't even have come to power to create the mess they created. But because you broke the Jubilee covenant, It gave them the opportunity. And so, when you say you are coming back to break the Jubilee covenant, and I fight you, and I win the fight, because now you are staying under the Jubilee house. Today, aren't you enjoying the Jubilee blessings? Let me tell you what would have happened if I had allowed you, because the Lord showed me that 96 would typologically repeat itself. What happened in 96? John Rawlings, going for the last time. He won the election by 57%. John Rawlings had 2 Central Region vice presidents. He was operating with the last one, Professor Atamils. 57%. The speaker became speaker again. NDC had overwhelming majority. Isn't that correct? What happened in 2024? John Mahama was going for the very last time with his 2nd Central Region vice president, also a professor. How much did he get? 57%. Speaker became speaker again. NDC, overwhelming majority. But this is what would have happened. Because you said from day one, you changed the name to Flagstaff House. By this time, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman would have been president. And you, John Mahama, you would have been obituary. Yes. Because, you see, Ofosu Ampofo was an agent. Clement Apak is an agent. You appointed them. You gave them ministerial positions. Jesus appointed his 12 disciples. Yet it was one of them who betrayed him. So yes, they are acting as agents because Ahoy has said that, Nana, just be patient. What happened in the time of Atamils will repeat itself. It will repeat itself, but it can only repeat itself under Flagstaff House. It can never repeat itself under the Jubilee House. It can never. So all they needed you to do was to reverse the name to Flagstaff House. They would have gotten you. Since the Swendro Declaration in 1998, NDC always pair a Northerner and somebody from the Central Region. Northerner, Central Region, Northerner, Central Region. Check it out. From 2000, 2004, and then 2008, Atanos won with you. Then he died, and then you took over. And you also continue the pattern. Central Region and Northern Region, Central Region and Northern Region. And now it was your turn to die according to the Swendro Declaration, so that now the power will go to Central Region, because that's all they've been looking for. And I saved your life. I saved your life, His Excellency John Mahama. I saved your life. And this is my reward. They say I took money from NPP to campaign against you. May God vindicate us. May God judge all of us. Excellency John Mahama, you appeared in the dream of my prophet, and you said you didn't obey me, but now you will obey whatever I tell you. That is why you have left the name as Jubilee House. That is why you took the oath with one hand. Because that is what I insisted. His Excellency, can you imagine if you had obeyed what the Lord has asked you to do fully? If instead of going to Central Region for your running mate, you had gone to the Volta region and chosen the man who was born on the 18th of April, 1957. He is a KNUST alumni. And then in choosing him, according to the covenant, all you needed to do was just add golden to the Jubilee House. And that will be a sign that the Jubilee covenant will be operating at full level. Can you imagine what would have happened? In 6 months, you will do what it takes 4 years to do. Yes. In 6 months. Today, within a year, it takes you what you do within a year what it should take you 2 years to do, or what you estimated would take 2 years to do. In 6 months, you would have done. The acceleration would have been tripled, quadrupled. But anyway, what do we say? See, every Jubilee Covenant president takes the oath with one hand, okay? And must have a KNUST alumni in the first or second family. Jerry Rawlings, 25 years, 40 years, Jubilee. He He took the oath with one hand. Ajima Kunedu was the KNUST alumni. John Kufuor took the oath with one hand. Aliu Mahama, KNUST alumni. During the time of President Mills and yourself, the first time, there was no jubilee. And check, no KNUST alumni among the first and second family. And you took the oath with what? Two hands. Then comes Nanado, takes the oath with one hand. 60 years, jubilee. Samaria Baumia, KNUST alumni. Today, next year, Ghana at 70, jubilee. You've taken the oath with one hand. Where is the KNUST alumni? So you can't operate fully as a jubilee president. That is why it is necessary for a John to take over from you. But we'll come there. This is what the Lord showed me. 2016 was the 50th anniversary of the overthrow of Nkrumah from the Flagstaff House. And what happened to you? History repeated itself. J.B. Dankwa died. Nkrumah was overthrown from the Flagstaff House. And the same thing happened to you. Okay? And Akufo-Addo became president. Do you know something? Let me tell you a mystery. Next year, 2027, will mark the 60th anniversary of the death of Kotoka. Do you know that after Kwame Nkrumah, Kotoka also operated from the Flagstaff House? And then he was killed at the airport premises. And so they named the place after Kotoka. After that happened, do you know what happened? That was 67. And I think they named the place in 69. In 69, Buzia won the election. And then in 1970, Akufo-Addo became ceremonial president. His Excellency John Mahama, as the Lord my God lives, if you change the name of this Kotoka airport, trust me, who named the seat of government Golden Jubilee House? Who named the airport Kotoka International Airport? Who named it? And when you change the name Jubilee House to Flagstaff House, see what happened to you. If you change the name from Kotoka Airport to Accra Airport to Nkrumah Airport, whatever, trust me, NDC, you are expected to win 7 elections after John Mahama. But if you do this, bang, you see what happened. If you don't believe me, let me show you what the Lord showed me. I believe, NDC, you believe El Bernard is a prophet. As for me, you've insulted me from head to toe. NDC people, they say I'm a mad apostle, I'm a stupid apostle. Hey, after the insult, even if MPP were insulting me, I would have taken it like that. And isn't it amazing that it is the NPP who called me NDC wee pastor, labeled me as, some stupid entity. They now take my voice, edit it, and they use my voice to campaign. Is it not madness? Is it not madness? And you, NDC, you believe. I'm amazed. Let me show you what the Lord showed me. You believe El Bernard is a prophet, isn't it? Okay. El Bernard prophesied that you win the election, and you won. Sami Jemfi and co. You went there to thank him. Isn't that correct? Look, El Bernard brought out a list. And, he was doing some, demonstration. And he brought a chair. And then on the MPP side, he said Kenny Japan. And then he named Brian Champon. And he said Kenny Japan will win. But, you see, let me show you what God showed me about Kenny Japan. Kenny Japan is born 16th of June. Kutua Champon, who caused the downfall of the Akufo-Addo government, was also born. He died 16th of June. So the Lord showed me that Kenny Japan was going to be used to bring down the Akufo-Addo regime. After that, he will suffer a palace coup, just as Kwame Achampon did. And after that, execution. So, Brian Champon is my witness. They accuse him that it was his words that brought the Akufo-Addo regime down. And now he has just suffered the palace coup d'etat. Next is his execution. He himself has said, let's watch what happens in 3 years. Let's all watch what happens in 3 years. Anyway, back to my list. So, El Bernard names Kennedy Japan. He said he will win the primaries And then he saw Brian Champon coming. 2 names. How come all the 2 names, none of them won the elections? It was Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, whom he never even named. He won the election and not Kennedy. And for Brian Champon, he said Brian was for the future. Watch this. So that is the list he gave on MPP. Now let's go to the list of NDC. And NDC, if you don't sit up, don't say I didn't warn you. As for me, I'll always warn you as a prophet of God, as an apostle. On the NDC side, he named John Esiedun Ketia, the insect, he called him. Then he named Julius Debra, JD. Then he named H.I., Haruna Idrisu. Then last, he named Omane Boama. The Lord showed me what is happening. Let's take it from the bottom. Number 4, Omane Boama. Where is he? What happened to him? You and I know. Haruna Idrisu. Number 3. What has just happened to him? His wife is very prayerful. And you see, when the revelation came, some of us have been praying. Haruna Idrisu. But it had to happen. But because of our prayers, he will survive. So that you will know that what we say is the truth. So, Omane is gone. Haruna has tasted. They are taking it from the bottom. That means Haruna should forget anything about the presidency. Omane, where he is, presidency is out of the question. The next on the list is the number 2. Julius Debra, the chief of staff. He is next on the list. Wherever he is, tell him, I, Apostle Kwabena Ojei, I said he should be very careful. And for us, the least we can do is pray for him. But tell him he himself should be very prayerful. He is next on the list. And what I saw concerning Julius was not a car accident or an accident. But they want to tamper with his health. Kind of a paralysis, a stroke, heart attack, something, And so he has to be very careful. This is what I saw. They are taking it from the bottom. When they are finished with Julius, then they will come to the insect man, the John Esiedun Ketia. So they dealt with Omane Boama, dealt with Haruna Idrisu. They are coming to deal with Julius Debra after they will deal with John Esiedun Ketia. That is what I saw. A word to the wise is enough. So tell the chief of staff, Julius Debra, that I, Apostle Kwabena Ojei, I said this is what I saw. And he should sit up. Very prayerful he must be. Very, very prayerful. You see, you say, Eja eshe oyonko abodisa. Men say nsuo ensi wudie no. Fa wo abodisa no fa nu nsuo. This is my advice. He can take it, he can leave it. Remember, it is 96 that has typologically repeated itself in 2024. And 2000 is begging to repeat in 2028. And these are the signs. So, John Mahama, I wish you guys will listen to me. If you will listen to me, there are 7 elections that you must win. 7 elections. After John Mahama, 7 elections. But if you allow these events to overtake you, I'm afraid 2000 will repeat itself in 2028. Okay? There's something I want to say, but let me say it after all. How I wish NDC would change the majority leader. If it must be a Northerner, I believe Alhaji Suhuyini, I hope the pronunciation is correct. He is more discerning than your current majority leader. He is more discerning. So please, the renaming of Kotoka Airport should cease immediately, John Mahama. Seize it. Concentrate on job creation. Dollar has come down. Good. Petrol price has come down. But all that is doing is bringing in cheap importation. Local production is still expensive because electricity is expensive, water is expensive. Everything we produce here is expensive. So dollar is now, what, 10 point something to a dollar. So now cheap importation. So we are creating jobs for other people by buying cheap importations. But we need to create jobs for ourselves. We need to create jobs. The youth need jobs. And this is where the energy should go. Not on changing some name because some in Chroma want some revenge. Don't do it, oh. His Excellency John Mama. Don't do it. You see, they have aligned a certain change of regime to the change of the name. As soon as you change it, bam, there will be a change of regime. Listen to me, oh. Listen to me for once, His Excellency John Mahama. Listen to me for once. When I told you to change the name back to Jubilee House or else Yebi Dankwa would die, you'll be kicked out from the Flagstaff House, just like in Nkrumah. You didn't listen to me. When I told you choose a Voltarian for 2020 because Papa J will die, you didn't listen to me. And now, if I hadn't been hard on you, you wouldn't have listened to me. You'd have changed the name to Flagstaff House. And by now, you'd have been obituary. And Professor Jenano Pokwajima would have been the president today. I'm telling you the reality. That is the Swedro Declaration. But the Jubilee Covenant is protecting you. And then now they say go and change Kotoka Airport. Meanwhile, there's a change of regime that has been aligned to the change of name. Abraham, his name was changed to Abraham. Jacob, his name was changed to Israel. Did you hear anybody reversing it? Did you? His Excellency John Mahama, please don't fall into this trap. Today is the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, Chocolate Day. Please send me my chocolates. The least you can do. Condom Day. I don't need condoms. Send me my chocolate. Anyway, I shall be back in Jesus' mighty victorious name. Amen. Okay, just by the way, let me read to you what the covenant in this book says. Remember, this book contains the terms of the covenant Hezekiah Apostolic Prayer Ministry entered with the Lord on behalf of NDC. These are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the keys of David. In page 73, it is written, to mark the 40th anniversary of the 31st December 1981 movement, Honorable Aben Bagbin must be sworn into office as Speaker of Parliament on the midnight of January 6, 2021, ahead of the official swearing in of President John Dramani Mahama. It is written. Then somewhere it is written that a Voltarian running mate has been prepared for you. But you missed all that. But it's not too late, His Excellency, if you are mindful to do what is right in the eyes of the Lord. It's not too late. This is what is written. I'll read it and I'll end it here. Ghana was marked for economic stability and emancipation, and business owners were going to be raised by God by our 60th birthday in 2017, in accordance with the Golden Jubilee Covenant under former President John Kufuor. However, the name change under the late John Mills saw the country suffer serious economic crisis. The renaming, which coincided with the birthday of President Akufo-Addo, will lead the country on the path of progress. And by age 70 at 2027, Ghana will see enormous economic transformation. Akufo-Addo did not add the golden to the Jubilee House. This has been reserved for the NDC flag bearer and his running mate born on the 4th month called April, with code number 18/4/1957/7, who will come to complete the task. John Mahama, His Excellency, it's not too late. You can do corrections. This is the book. It was written and launched in 2018. God be with you and with your spirit. In Jesus' mighty victorious name. Amen.